Awesome. So thank you for joining me today. Today, I am here with Sarah Casorso, head brewmaster of Bench Brewery, located in the heart of Lincoln, Ontario. Sarah and her team work hard at the brewery every day, and this dedication to their craft has allowed them to not only produce delicious, flavorful beer, but do so in a sustainable way. Over the years, Sarah has perfected the bench brewing process to allow the brewery to minimize the wastewater produced from their beer. Sarah gives her attention to every detail in the beer from start to finish, and the outcome is a truly delicious brew that keeps customers coming back for more and more. Without her and her team's creativity, enthusiasm, and passion, Bench would not be able to produce their amazing beers they produce today. Without further ado, Miss Sarah Casorso. Awesome.
Hello.
Hi, thanks for joining me.
Happy to
So,
be here.
my first question for you is, as a brewmaster, what motivates you to push the accepted standard of wastewater in the brewing process?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I think that the industry in general is moving into a more and more sustainable direction, and it's definitely part of our image and what we stand for as a business, and something we want to do not only for us but for the community, and just moving forward in that kind of green sustainable platform again in the industry is starting to become big. So, another factor too, obviously, is it's more economical for us as well to be conscious of water usage, not only on the usage side, but also on the waste side. So we're set up with kind of a tile bed system initially, and now we have our own wastewater treatment facility. Initially, we were actually having to haul away kind of that water. So in us kind of bringing down our water ratio and just being more conscious of water usage, we were able to kind of drop the amount of, tonnage we had to pull away. But now, we're not so much constrained by the wastage side, because we process the water and we're able to reuse that for orchards and fields and such for irrigation. So that's been great for us.
That's awesome. So, what are some advantages and disadvantages you have faced in working with the local produce of the area in your brewing process?
Yeah, so I think there's much more advantages than disadvantages. First and foremost, the beer is more fresh and delicious, I think, when we use whole fresh fruit, but also allows us to express the terroir and locality of the region, and also support just local farmers and the economy around here. I think is a huge advantage and something that we stand for sure. We're also able to go and check out the fruit firsthand and kind of source it, so we're always getting top quality every time, and we're able to organize and source that demand well ahead of time with the farmers as well. So that's definitely all the advantages. The disadvantages, however, it is a much more expensive option than saying get purees or concentrates or something like that. The farmers need to make a living too, so they need to charge what they need to charge, and they're obviously getting much less than they would get on, a wholesale food market side. So there's that side of things, but also if it's a bad season. So we might plan the demand ahead of time with the farmers, but if you get a really rainy season or an extensively dry season, the farmers might have less fruits or really bad quality, so we might not actually even get the demand, or it drives the price up because they have less fruit. So we haven't run into that too many times, but it definitely is something that can hinder us.
Awesome. So, as a brewmaster, what is your biggest goal or focus when you are producing a new beer or creating a new process?
So we want to make sure the beer's interesting and delicious, but also speaks to a wide consumer base for sure. For that, we have different platforms. We have kind of really high-end, expensive beers that we make less of, and then we have more trendy and marketable beers that we produce more of. So keeping all those things in mind, what can you sell and in what format for sure. But consistency is a big one for sure. Making sure it's replicatable, making sure it's on trend. So using new hops or different styles that people want at the time is definitely going into the focus of creating the beer.
Awesome. So, as a brewmaster, was there any focus on sustainability and sustainable practices in your academic studies, or did you develop this knowledge and in these practices through your work in the industry?
So I actually didn't go to school for brewing, so I definitely learned it in the industry and on the job. But I am from out west, and I grew up on a farm, so sustainability and locality and living green was always kind of something that was ingrained in me growing up. So it is definitely something I think has crossed over to work, but definitely something I learned while at Bench. And Matt Giffen, the owner, has a huge focus on sustainability and locality, so he kind of helped instill that in me as well.
Awesome. Are there any steps taken in your bottling and packaging process to help decrease the impacts of beer packaging?
Um, I think this is an interesting one because there's not a ton that we can do to bring that down in terms of wastage, like, you know, aluminum cans or something that don't get used or fall off the line, or plastic and that sort of thing. We recycle all that. So we're doing our part there. And then in terms of water usage, besides like cleaning and rinsing cans, there's not a ton of water usage, and there's not really a way we can bring that down at the moment. So I don't think that one's too big wastage wise, at least at our company.
Awesome. So the average amount of wastewater resulting from the brewing process is about 7 to 10 gallons of water for every 1 gallon of beer produced. What have you been able to reduce this number to, and what was the process like of refining and perfecting this brewing process?
So our brewing ratio is actually around 1 to 5 last we checked. So pretty good compared to kind of the market average. Because we have our wastewater treatment facility, we had to put a big focus on side streaming all of our hops, yeast, trub, wort, and kind of wasted beer that's not being packaged. We put all that in totes, and we put that in a designated waste tank, which gets picked up. So that's reduced our rinse water immensely, and also the wastage that goes down the drain and the water used to need to process that waste. So that's been a big one for us, but we also have pretty precise numbers on the brew house. So when we're brewing, we record all of our numbers. We make sure there's an exact number that goes in to the beer, and that's mostly going into the beer, not so much cleaning. We have timed hot kills, exact CIP, water usage, that sort of thing. So we're pretty much able to account for all the water that gets used in the brewery pretty effectively.
Awesome. So my last question for you today is, are there any unique challenges you faced or have faced in the brewing process that have resulted from the adaptations you have made to reduce your wastewater?
Yeah, so one of the things I just mentioned was the side streaming. So that goes into a tote. Normally, breweries will kind of just attach a hose to their tank, and they'll just put that right down the drain. Doesn't take a lot of energy or supervision, that sort of thing. But again, once we got the wastewater treatment facility, we needed to start side streaming that, and that actually takes a lot of time. Like, you have to watch it. You need to be supervising it all the time. You need to take the totes out. You have to dump the totes. So it probably takes 4 or 5 times longer than just dumping it down the drain. So that's definitely been, learning curve. It was something that I think there was a little bit of resistance in the beginning, but it's become such a normal part of daily life here now that I think that we almost don't even notice anymore. But it definitely, that's the most noticeable challenge for sure. Aside from that, I think we've all bought into just really good process and procedure here, and we just follow it. So I mean, for sure, days are challenging, they're hard work, but it's all part of what we do here and what we believe in.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for answering my questions today.
No problem.
I hope you have a great day. I'll hopefully see you soon.
Yeah, sounds great. Thanks.
Bye.
Okay.